What is going on, everyone? It's Eric Rosen. I am your quantum astrologer. I'm calling myself quantum astrologer now because I like to get in deep into those crevices for this is for your sun sign horoscope for the whole month of March. I'm going to go deep into each 12 zodiac signs for a bit, highlight, talk about the events that are coming down the pipeline for March. It's a big preparation month, I would say, especially because we're going to be heading into eclipse season by the end of this month. And also in the next month in April, we'll have Jupiter Uranus meeting. So it's a big buildup of a lot of things. The spring is no joke in 2024. I think the biggest thing is whatever it is that you're contemplating, meaning like not overthinking or weighing things out, but actually getting an intuitive message on some things to move on, where that's been your own intuitive channel or others have been helping you. Go take those steps. Do not wait, especially till after May. Like this is where we see the best things now. Like the astrology actually really aligns well with the natural seasonal cycles of the sun of like, planting new things in the spring. But honestly, these should be things that you've already concocted on a kind of complex Pluto and Aquarius type of fad, I guess you could say, of like a trend of like what you're trending towards. But this is about like getting deeper and making sure that you've got the belief and the value system to match like taking each step, you know, and if not, seeing like where can you evolve and connect more with spirit to actually have a belief to make it happen. Because if you don't obviously believe it, reality is not going to contour to what you're desiring to create, right? So there's a lot of different elements in this, but I do want to say that just before I even get into Aries, to start with the first sun sign, there's several things going on. I think the most remarkable, as I've already mentioned, is the full moon eclipse. It's going to be in Libra. That won't be till later in the month. That'll be the 25th. And then Mars going into Pisces is a pretty big deal on the 22nd. You also have Venus going into Pisces on the 11th. It's interesting how I'm working backwards here. And then Mercury going into Aries on the 9th earlier in the month. I think those are some of the biggest things, but we'll cover some more of the minor things that are happening for each zodiac sign as well. So let's get you pulled up here, Aries. Hope everyone's having a good month so far. Ups and downs here, but I will tell you that the biggest thing is we're our own master of our own co-created destiny of our vibration. It's North Node, Chiron, and Aries. There's no one to point the finger at but ourselves with what we're doing in our actions. It might be kind of tough justice, but when you get the North Node and Chiron and Aries and the South Nodes in Libra, that's part of it. South Node, you're moving from this karmic contemplating, overweighing things out aspect in Libra to more of like a focused, headstrong, this is what I'm doing, but this is also how I'm healing and not taking too much action, but taking aligned action in Aries. And so starting with Aries, like this is a big focus spotlight on you, Aries. I mean, you start the month off with Jupiter semi-square Neptune, which this is kind of strange for you a little bit because Jupiter's in your second house, very much like dealing with money. That Neptune, of course, is in your 12th house. So it's like Aries, I'm just going to say it like you need to have a grounded focus and understanding, especially early on this month, of like, is there a spiritual intuitive channel backing you, through developing that sensing and that knowing that the steps that you're taking are aligning, that they actually match like a value system, like it's making sense. It's like a physical, component of things. You don't just want to throw it up to just like a hope and a prayer and be blind and like not pay attention to the actions that you're taking. This is a very important time to make sure you're identifying and paying attention to who you are, who you're showing up as, healing, owning any wounds, any self-sacrifices you've had to do in order to like especially help other people with all the Aquarius in your 11th house. you're earlier on in this month, you're going through a shedding, you know, you're going through a let go. And I don't think it'll be a let down as long as you're in integrity, you know, and you're going out, you're serving, you're helping others, you're putting your value system first. On the 9th of this month, you've got Mercury moving into your sign, which is one of the charts I have pulled up here, 0 degrees of Aries. So I think it depends, Aries, you know, how you play, you know, these first few days of March. It can either be, you know, the awareness of you held your breath too long underwater in Pisces, not paying attention to things and coming up and seeing it, or you paid attention to the gospel of the Holy Spirit of God, of like what he was saying, he, she, whatever was saying, and you're an Aries. So I mean, you're a masculine sign, regardless if you're feminine. It's like, you know, you can take it forward now and take it to the bank and actually like work, you know, with making sure like go slow, Aries, like don't push it. Like, is this next action, no matter how minor it is it matching my value system to not get like too crazy headstrong? On the 10th, we're going to have the new moon in Pisces. That's going to be really interesting, right? Because you're still going through a release. It's not completely over. I think this can be, again, it can either be a cleansing of you've been, you know, paying attention on a deep subconscious psychological level to what the writing's kind of been on the wall, but like in the fog and behind the wall, behind the Wizard of Oz curtain. It's kind of weird, right? Aries, what I'm saying to you is like the person that you think is orchestrating the show, whoever you're thinking, it's like it's actually not that. It's like who built the chamber that the wizard's even in the first place. You almost got to get past the illusion of who you think is the I am presence. That's a lot of like this North Node Chiron of like, who are you choosing to be as your identity? And like, see, can you keep how many kingdoms of consciousness of God are there? You know, it's like there's things like the ego identity, but then there's like this idea of like I am presence and higher self. It's like climb to the highest rung, Aries, and like don't get scared. Like get a good, you know, sort of top down, you know, kind of crazy view, you know, of witnessing the different aspects too. This could bring up sub persona stuff of like IFS work is a really cool thing to look at. I do have IFS sessions. There's a lot of great practitioners out there that help get clarity on like some of these pieces. You know, and then I think if you're writing it well, Aries, I think it's just this new moon's all about fresh perspective. It's a fresh spiritual perspective. Where can you be better at being more of service? Where can you be more compassionate, empathetic? I don't think there's a Godsmack coming, like you're going to get thumped or anything. I think it's more there's like the Aries that are going to get it and they're spiritual and they're in flow, and then there'll be the Aries that they keep ignoring and keep plowing and like using this new moon to seed like a fantasy reality that's maybe not in integrity even further, because you got to keep in mind like this new moon is sandwiched between Saturn and Neptune. This is crazy town. Like you can have the spiritual vision and be guided, but there's got to be a structure to it. There has to be a reality, you know, check, karmic basis to it. You know, think of it like this: Saturn's the father. Like he sees and hears more than you know. Like he's gonna hear you like sneaking out of the house, going to do that thing that deep in the back of your mind, Aries, you know, probably you're not doing the thing you really want to do because it's not truly spiritual aligned, or you're playing it small, and small not meaning more so like from your ego, you know, like this is being careful about revenge narratives with people, or proving yourself, or like trying to overcompensate for the wounds. That Venus sliding into Pisces on the 11th this month, I think is going to be really helpful for you. I think this is where you can have compassionate minded relationships, friendships kind of come in. This is going to be sort of what I would call seeing like who's moving from an acquaintance to someone that maybe more so that you can count on spiritually. And I'll be honest, it's okay if that's not a physical person. If it feels more ethereal and it's more of like spirit guides and angels, that's okay too, Aries. It's like, just don't forget you do have that conduit. I know it might seem like I'm being hard on you. You're an Aries, so you can take it, you're strong, but it's like to soften into the compassion piece. I think that is this. Venus coming into Pisces, she's exalted there. She loves to be in Pisces. She loves the ethereal flow like nature, you know, where things can feel boundless and dreamlike. And so it's good to have dreams, Aries. It's just like still keep it grounded, keep it in the direct sense of, you know, still helping others, being helped, supported by others. If things feel too forced with people, maybe the value systems just aren't matching, and that you have to like, you know, let those people go. It's okay. So that sun that is going to come into your sign on the equinox on March 20th, I think this, like, I think it might be a little bit more deflating than what you're used to, Aries, like this Aries season, especially the first, you know, couple weeks of the season, because we're still waiting for the solar eclipse to come around, which isn't actually going to be until April. And so it's almost like you're getting the pages that are like stuck together and you can't read, there's no writing. It's like waterlogged at the back of the book. It was probably a Bible, like preaching like right and wrong dualistic concepts because of how it came out of Pisces with all this like crazy intense energy with Neptune and Saturn there, that crazy town, that carousel of like your subconscious like patterns of thinking and like going into like different scenarios that you're not like sharing with anybody because you're trying to hold it together, I think, and your focus, which you can be good at, but it's like this is not a time to like get feel lame, you know, and feel weak and not strong in yourself, even more so because you're getting the illumination of the sun in your sign to like look at yourself and see that your drive, your actions, the things that you're doing maybe aren't showing up the way that you had hoped. Um, you know, with the spiritual vision, I think it's just it's patience. It's like if something knocked over during a storm and you were planning for a festival and you want to just walk out and chill and relax or go, let me just go do this thing and get ready for the festival, the celebration of my life, which, you know, is cool. I mean, this only comes around once every, you know, well, I don't want to say once, but it's like these are 18-year cycles of like, you know, eclipses in your sign. I mean, it's not, let's just put it this way, it's not an everyday thing. And so it's like, but maybe some of this crazy Pisces energy, things fell over, knocked down, like you weren't sure about some things subconsciously. It's like, okay, pick it up, you know, pick it up, like clean up the mess, clean up your mess with people, clean up the mess with your mind. Like it's okay. Like you're at the back of the book. Like God, I want to say this, God's not gonna hold it against you. Like if you fucked up, Aries, like if you were a dick, if you're a motherfucker to people, like if you were, you know, being too harsh or brash or, you know, not slowing down or showing restraint when you could have, or trying to hold on to certain things or people, like it's going to get a little whitewashed, you know, come eclipse time anyway. So I think you can relax on it. Mars coming into Pisces on the 22nd is a big deal, I think, because one, Mars knows it's getting closer to its home, Aries, you know, where I think you can start to feel a lot better about licking your wounds, about the things that went down the past few months. But with it being in Pisces, it's going to be more so about the gentle nature of you and the compassion, the empathy for wounds that haven't fully healed yet. And again, this is more about showing restraint. This is about like not pushing, plowing too crazy hard into stuff. Venus loves to be in Pisces, Mars does not. It's basically, you know, Mars doesn't want to slosh around in a water sign. So I think your sloshing around only comes if you've still got subconscious belief dilemmas about what you can have or not have. Um, I would use Mars and Venus coming together here in this new moon energy to like more so look at how can you root ground into a spiritual connection with God and more listening, more silence, more compassion, not trying to fix things so that you can actually be spiritually guided and kind of relax a little bit so that you're not just like pushing too much with the word prehistoric action comes up, as in like prehistoric, like the reptilian parts of the brain, like you're actually doing it from more that fear, lower ego type of place that I mentioned. Jupiter semi-square the North Node. This is an interesting one. It can be an exciting one for you, though, depending. I mean, this is happening on the 23rd, and so Jupiter again, money, yes, but also in your second house, self-worth, your projects, relationship situations, making aspects to that North Node. I think this is where you can kind of get a glimpse into the betterment of the future, where things can go when you actually act from a healed place and maybe not like a narcissistic sub persona. Like I'm just gonna be honest. I think a lot of people have them. Maybe not all people, but it's like not a narcissist, but like just the protective layers. That's all I'm saying. It's not like a label, Aries, but it's like if you can walk around without so much armor and healed and be more humble, I think you can see like, wow, you mean my reality can go this way? I don't have to push or try so hard or proving or putting mascara like on the wounds, and I can connect with people like on a broader sense. It's like, yeah, Aries, like this is what a lot of this has been culminating towards is your ability to be okay with being humble during this time. You don't have it all. Like it's Chiron in your sign. It's been this way since 2019. And guess what? It's not over till you get a break in 2026, but then it's not over till 2027 too. And then finally that full moon Libra eclipse, your seventh house of relationships on the 25th. This is a thing where it's like the universe is like, hey, were you paying attention? Did you get too entrenched? Did you like, I don't know, go get married or something, Aries? Like you slam the gavel, you made the verdict, this person's in, this is who the people I'm connected to. This is South Node in Libra, this is the eclipse, this is a lunar, full moon eclipse. So it's like it's a purge, eclipses cut things out, it ends things, starts new chapters. And so if you're not paying attention, Aries, the universe will do it for you. On the bright side of things, I think it can actually help clear up your headspace, because I actually feel like Aries that with all this 11th house, maybe you're taking on a lot of frequencies because you are kind of the wounded healer right now with Chiron in your rising, where it's like it's going to clear up your head because you're not around so much noise, because there's conflicting, clashing values. Maybe there's been like even telepathic people throwing shade against you or you against them. It's like get out of the spaces with people that you don't actually need to be in, and actually will clean up a lot of your focus to see what's really true and real to you and more connected to the divine. So moving on, I told you I was going to go deep. You're getting lucky this month, y'all. Let's go moving on to Taurus. So, and I didn't say this at the top. I'll put it in the notes, but this is for sun, rising, and moon signs. So Taurus, well, you're going through a crazy release time, Taurus. You're not here to fuck around though and get hung up in your wounds and trying to like go put mascara on your wounds like Aries was doing. It's like let God deal with it. God's got the magic, the temple, like if you will. It's like the ashram. It's like the place that you can go and worship and release at any point in your reality, Taurus. So like the moment you're feeling weird or off or just like not feeling good or it's a wound, you can let go of it just like that. There's all this beautiful Pisces energy to go connect with the world, to do really amazing things in this 10th house Aquarius of like more, I don't want to say regal, but it's more like regal for the people, like connecting powerfully, networking connections, business. This is really good for that. And you've got a cataclysm coming next month with Jupiter Uranus meeting of like finding out the bravado and the potency and I can't even put words to it, aspect of the beauty of who you really are, Taurus. But let's put you in the right situations this month for you to see that mirroring through people that you've magnetized, to see how fucking great and worthy and powerful, confident that you are and can be. Jupiter Seminar Square Neptune, starting off with the third of this month of March. This is dealing with your 11th house of people, connections, and then also your identity. So, I don't think we got to get too deep into this one because I think it is just that. It's what I just said. It's like let the magic flow to you of people. Be bright, be shiny, go be a Taurus, Don't feel like you got to go out in the world and hunt too hard because I think this is a little bit more about the attraction piece, of like the vibration that you're in. This is not like a chasing energy Taurus, like you're the bull, like you don't need to run fast, like you're more stable. Trust that because you don't need to move fast, that it's in your aura, it's in your environment, it's in your space already that people to connect with. It should be close by, the black book, the phone, the intuitive note to reach out to XYZ person. Like I don't think you need to feel like Taurus that just because there's this big door opening that you have to like stop being a Taurus and like turn into like a bat or something and go fly around, like you're running from Ozzy Osbourne or something, trying to like get everything done. That's not a good look for you, Taurus, especially with that South Node in that sixth house of Libra. Um, Mercury and Aries, that Mercury comes into Aries, leaves Pisces on the 9th here of March. This is transition from 11th house to 12th house. Don't drown in your thinking. Just be careful. Like, I don't want you, Taurus, like weigh things out that you already know about. You already know enough of who you are, your value system, the things that you want to do. Do not get sloshy during this time and start convincing yourself that sounds extreme, but you're being a bad person, like the Antichrist, because you're like focused and taking action on things that actually feel magical. It's like, no, go do the things that feel magical. This new moon in Pisces that's going to roll around uh, it's interesting, this horoscope starting off a little quicker than Aries did Taurus. And I think some of that is like you're wanting to move quick. That South Node in Libra. And it's like it's okay to slow down, but this new moon in Pisces on the 10th, again, 11th house people, this is where the magic starts. Okay. This is why you don't want to go too crazy schizo, getting all these things done, busybody, sixth house stuff, because you're more so Taurus, like gearing up for patience of the magic, like noticing that self-care means holding the dream and taking aligned action and things and not going crazy until you get to this, because I think there can be more of a beautiful uh loving opening in your heart space to people, to service, to being in right communities and environments, with others. I think a lot of this comes down to, yes, manifest, yes, but like it's more so you're already doing it already, Taurus, like in your thinking, like your everyday thoughts. That's part of South Node in Libra is like, I hate to, it's not like a criticism, but it's like notice where are your thoughts going? You're manifesting in every moment with that South Node, presence of are you in alignment with your thinking is everything. It's actually not so much always about the action that you're doing, Taurus. Like that's a component of it, but it's also like what are the thoughts? What's the present moment look like? What's the reality in the now look like in between some of these bigger, higher level actions of maybe risk and exposing more of your power and your gifts and putting them out into the world with people that I'm encouraging you to really do and to keep doing and don't stop. If you hit a block, I think that Venus coming into Pisces that is exalted here is really going to be helpful for you because Venus has been a little stressed, a little challenged in Aquarius. She's been trying to figure out a lot of things. This is on the 11th, by the way, if I didn't say that. But you're going to be more so gearing from plans, trying to have potency of getting things done, being careful not to be overly ambitious on some like personal gain level. Because that's the thing about Aquarius, your 10th house with Pluto, Mars, Venus here. It's very much dealing with like, are you doing it for just your personal reasons, or is there also like a collective goal to it? And I think that's where if you've been stressed, there's at least some relief. Venus coming into the 11th house of Pisces because you can start to see, oh, cool. I just had to be more embodied. I just had to ground more. I just had to be rooted and trust what's in my aura of people. And there's magic here. And maybe you couldn't see it, you know? So I don't want to call it a bailout because I think you're doing fine. I think this is just more of like a stress release for you, especially because South Node in Libra, that's one of Venus's homes. And so with it being in your 10th house and the sixth houses, this is a lot about the work and reality, where 11th house is going to be more about fun, connection, spiritual flow, serendipity, synchronicities. So I think you get to relax a little bit, more Taurus. The sun coming in to the equinox point, that's your 12th house. So you don't want to slip on your grip of like staying focused on your greater level goals and ambitions, just because, you're starting to have fun and flowing and being around people more. It's like you don't want to get lost into other people's value systems. Like that's the caution when the sun leaves here. It's like, because it's illuminated to see your magic, their magic, where all the magic's at. But then when it leaves and goes into the 12th house, it's like you've got to know your magic, connected to the divine, connected to God, doing this through things like prayer, meditation, and then trusting that there's this element of, you know, the people things are always going to be flowing and working themselves out, but how you're showing up with your identity to those situations, and maintaining your values, not so much in the stubborn way that you're not flexible, Taurus, because I know that's a challenge in general. It can be a challenge right now, but more so that you're willing to be a witness and like more listening and hearing what people are saying. Um, this brings up presence again, like really feeling into what people are saying. I think the better you're feeling into the conversations and how you're feeling when you're around people and community stuff, and being of service, that there's this added bonus of that you don't have to maybe do so much processing, in your alone quiet time, that it can just be a little bit more focused, like moving forward to the next thing instead of subconscious cleanup, because you've been dealing a lot with people's situations for years, Taurus, of like, trust, even complacency, hiding. The astrologer I learned from was talking about how Seinfeld's a Taurus, and how it's like they showed up for a Super Bowl commercial and are talking about doing maybe like a reunion or something like that. And he's a fucking Taurus, It's like he wasn't doing much though these past few years, like a little bit here and there, whatever. But it's like, I know Taurus says you are coming back out into the world, but remember that there's magic available to you for your best skill set and longevity to do greater things. It's tempering expectations of things showing up instantaneously, and I think that's where you have to be careful about that's going in or trying to align or shift your brain and disconnecting from your aura vibration of some job mindset, especially like busybody job thing, just to like make a little bit of money or something, like as a way to, because you're not being patient for bigger sums of prosperity to come in. It's like you're fucking Taurus. You know how to magnetize that shit. You know your skills. Like, remembering that again, the benefit of how to know that again, I think is this, this Pisces 11th house energy of this new moon in Venus, of reminding you people are magical and they want to be around you too. So that fucking makes you magical too, Taurus. So quit faking it. You don't have to fake it till you make it. You just root into knowing that you're fucking awesome. So that cuss words. So Mars coming into Pisces on the 22nd. I think that component of it is like, because this is what's weird, right? It's like it's not in Aries yet. It's not in your 12th house. These are both kind of freaky little territories anyway for when it comes to taking action, when it comes to identifying. But you've got to be really, I'm just going to say it, Taurus, like do not wait all month. Don't wait till the 22nd to get really clear on who you are in the ways that I just described prior to this, because when Mars comes here, this is where, can't bury your head in the sand because you're uncertain of your actions, where you're going, especially your values around people. That's why I'm preparing you with all this, so that when Mars comes in here and maybe the first step you take feels like you're dropping through the floor a little bit, don't worry, like it gets better. Like maybe you just had to go through a quick cleansing, you know, of you've been exposed, like in the essence of being public. It was, Mars and Aquarius, right? That it has been for a bit. And 10th house public, people, Like maybe you've been taking on frequencies. Maybe people have been misidentifying you. So like trust the cleansing, trust it's like you're not falling down, especially when this first happens towards the end of the month. It reminds me of like falling into like a sand trap, like quicksand. But it was like it was meant to. It was more of a purification. It might seem weird to be purified by sand that you'll get dirty, but Taurus, you're meant to be grounded. You want something earthy on you, right? Like be okay with like feeling a little dirty and earthy and gritty of like kind of like the grit of like, yeah, like I'm gonna like the grit of the Taurus that's gonna be like someone spit on me or a bird shit on me, whatever. Like you keep going, you keep plowing and remembering too that it's way more about what's going on with people than it is you, that it's not meant to it could trigger PTSD with people of like old wounds coming up, but it's not like no, you're not going back into that. Don't call the emergency room, and like call your mama and like start tattling on people, or something like that, saying that it was a people issue. It's just part of like the recalibration subconsciously with all this Pisces energy of how you feel about people. It's meant to be a bit of a whitewash. It's a cleansing. It's a car wash, to forgive and forget, like the wounds, because you don't need this whole playbook of how to like avoid wounds with people. If anything, like that playbook's like keeping you from connecting in the magic that you can really have. I would really marinate on that one, Taurus, to see how that shows up for you, because there's a big belief change that you can have, especially when that Jupiter makes that semi-square to the North Node on the 23rd, because this is about you and your relationship with God and needing to like reconnect that and magnetize that and see how's God showing up in your everyday present moment reality, but maybe you haven't seen it because you've been too busy or trying to move too quick. Remember, slow down, bulls, your Tauruses, and that in that magic of that, you can actually start to remember, like, oh, wait, God's reoriented my focus so that I can see the people that are quality that I am able to attract. So I'm actually really excited for that build up for you, Taurus. And then the full moon Libra eclipse, it might be kind of a womp womp moment because you might look around and be like, well, wait, I've been doing all this busy work and like, what do I have to show for it? Like, don't like it's okay. Just take a breath. Don't stress. You still have to wait 2 weeks for the solar eclipse in your 10th house, or excuse me, your 12th house in Aries for God to show you what it was all about. All of it. Like the whole review. Like why maybe you needed to move a little too fast and to learn what that was like to move too fast. Or where you feel like you fucked up, but like forgiveness of like when you did move too fast, it's like it's okay. It's again, it's a clearing, it's a cleansing. There's a lot of releasing, ending, old chapters. So that's not till April, you know, but to at least prepare you, like at the end of the month, don't cry over spilled milk, Taurus. So I didn't even mention too that, and I'll throw this in for Aries, like in the notes somewhere, but we are having Mercury go into its shadow this month too. So you know every sign needs to pay attention to where their focus is going, and I feel in some ways that's true no matter what, with everything we have going on in the astrology. But remember, Mercury is a small planet, and it's like literally the littlest fucking details. Like the mind is not the end all be all, and to see where it's like people sometimes freak out, oh, Mercury retrograde, Mercury shadow. It's like, guys, come on, like it's not going to be that bad. It's just you're in shadow. It's just you got to pay attention. That's it. But spirit's still there to show you with all this Pisces Aquarius energy too, and the Taurus to ground it. That we're actually shifting to a smarter perspective of things anyway. That's more fulfilling of self-fulfilling prophecies of like where you're vibrating at and your worth and your value, as opposed to like trying to categorize and create puzzles with the mind. So speaking of the mind, moving on to Gemini's. Gemini Sun, Gemini Rising, Gemini Moon. So Oops. Where'd you go, Gemini? So I'll pull it up. Difficulties. Let's do it this way. Well, Gemini, what I want to say is, I know you want to have fun, right? That's a big thing right now. But remember, service, connection to people. You're going to be finding a lot of healing through kind of feeling like the lone wolf a little bit, the weirdo maybe in the room with people, but it's okay. You're here to help people. You're here to bring the magic. You're here to bring God's essence, like your greatest skill set, belief systems, like making money. It's all going to come through the divine. It's all coming through God. It's all coming through what's your direct spiritual connection, right? Maybe you have someone that helps you get that to like ground into that and teaches the practices for that, but ultimately it's you, the receiver, to experience that. It's still a good time for career. It's a really magical time for career. Don't get lost in the fog of like, being overwhelmed by the amount of challenge that maybe that brings up of like, whoa, there's a lot of steps to like make this stuff happen. Trust your spirit guides, trust that there's people there to support you. It's just, they're just phone calls away to like help you make the vision real. So it's a good time, Gemini. Starting on March 3rd, that Jupiter semi-square Neptune, drum roll. This is your 12th house and your 11th house. So this is very much dealing with, excuse me, your 12th house and your 10th house. This is very much like dealing with what I'm describing here. It's like, yes, challenge, triumph, goals. This could be purpose, but career stuff as well. See what the spirit's saying, what's God saying. Keep it on the rails. Keep it grounded. SMART goals are a good thing for you, Gemini, because I know you have a lot of thoughts. Be a lot of fantasies about really high level goals. But remember, you're good at the details and the little things to accomplish it, and to not get too crazy by trying to take big leaps. So like SMART goals, what's God saying in order to like get to that thing is going to be a really good thing for you. Mercury coming into Aries on the 9th. This is your 11th house. So it's like, don't trip. Like there's people around, there's people that can help you too. You just got to be aware and see them, be observant. So as you're going through and sorting out your goals, your visions, the beliefs of how to make these SMART goals real, there's people there to help. The new moon in Pisces on the 10th, I think, you know, it's kind of reminds me of coming off of a sugar rush a little bit. Of like a sobering moment of like, oh, it's 9 o'clock at night and I've been stimulating myself all day, and how am I going to sleep? I'm like on sugar overload. It's like this is why it's like keep it on the rails. Don't get like too all over the place. Pay attention to what you're doing. This brings up with that South Node in Libra, like inner child stuff, making sure that you're still, this is a lot, to be honest, Gemini, a lot of adulting. So there's a lot of adulting, a lot of taking care of others. It's like it's kind of like put yourself aside, and if it were God down here, if it was Jesus, like what would he be doing? He'd probably want to be worried so much about, their wounds or how they're showing up in public or how's my makeup or, like overthinking things. It's like, no, you have a spiritual mission that's like kind of rebirthing that I think you've known in you, Pisces. And I feel like you've known this for like a long time, like since a very young age, because this does bring up the inner child of the imagination of something that maybe seemed fantasy like, but it was actually a real thing for you to actually like break bread with spirit and build your spiritual toolkit to actually like manifest and make it real, you know. And I think the way, to do that, especially when Venus comes into your 10th house in Pisces, again, people, like people situations, here it comes, here's more support. Did you manifest? Did you use this new moon? Did you use even just your own critical subconscious thinking process of rewiring any belief systems that are like cross wiring with an old version of you or something, like where you used to feel like a king or queen, but it's like that's not the alignment anymore. It's like you're here for the people now, to help the people, Gemini. And it's like that gets cleaned up, I think, by seeing that. But like the support, the beautiful high level support to manifest, to make things happen, come with more of this know thyself and what you're really here to do, and that focus, and to stop looking on the peripheral for all these other things or experiments or worrying about so much of yourself. I mean, it's kind of a tough justice, Gemini, but I think it's a good one. It bodes well for you in your long term. It's like it, it's the part of the Rocky movie of the training and doing the stuff that like happened in between the movies, and it's like you hear about the cool backstory spread throughout the movie. So it's like get the insight of what's going on with you on more of a personal level, and how spirit's orchestrating things like through playing out this 10th house movie of manifesting your best life and like winning the match, of what it is that you're wanting to conquer and like go after, especially as it pertains to service and help at a big higher level. um those awarenesses come later, especially around you. So sun equinox 20th, the more 11th house stuff, I think this is okay, like it's not bad. It's like this is more of just like knowing what like more awareness of like, okay, there's people everywhere, there's opportunities everywhere. um you don't need to like start wondering about groups of people, because I know you're a Gemini, you're curious, and that's good. Be curious, but it's like when you start wondering about other groups of people, see, wait, is there a spiritual aligned value to looking over here? It's like get out the box list, like go in order, like have a list this month, Gemini, for like people you're thinking about, like either reconnecting to or connecting to anew, or even disconnecting from, and like looking at the boxes. First thing, are they spiritual? Do they have shared values? If those are no, and then ask, well, are they open? That because that's a big one too. But if all those are no, then yeah, what are you doing? You don't owe anybody anything, Gemini. What the fuck? Like I get it. Like Jupiter, Uranus could put out the illusion that somehow you're being like the best expression of yourself and your value of like wanting to hang on, like maybe save people or like martyr people for some commitments that you made that were actually invisible commitments that were being done on a subconscious level. Someone had an ask and you're just like, oh yeah, sure. But it's like go through your spiritual process of your yes, of your commitments. This 10th house Pisces. Mars coming into Pisces, speaking of which, on the 22nd, is a good thing for knowing that. I mean, I'm just gonna say it. This is awesome, actually. Mars loves being in the 10th house. Maybe not so much Pisces, but it's like you can feel a little floaty, have some anchors around you, right? Maybe it's like masculine anchors, or anchoring yourself with your own masculine to make sure that like even as you're, because I think you're going to be well on your way to doing your best stuff. I hope so by then. But it's like you know keep both feet on the floor so that you're feeling good about yourself. Because I mean, remember, it's like Pisces is where things get like pathologized, right? Where we lose compassion and we start making things like wrong. And so Aries deals with like a lot of like how we're feeling about our strength and our adrenals, and stuff going on in the head and focus. And when we feel our vitality of Mars, that's when we go after stuff. And so in the 10th house, it wants to get tenacious with it. But in Pisces, it's like just get the help from spirit, get the help from the relationships around you to just stay on track. This could be accountability measures, but like not so much in secrecy. It's like being okay with asking for help and accountability for others. And maybe it's like reminding them why it's good for them to hold you accountable, because it's like what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Like it's a relationship. romantic situation, because I know that comes up as a thing for you with the South Node in your fifth house, Libra, especially. Just those reminders, and then patience, for them to align their values to want to support you, and that at least if you put it out there, at least you've already put the ask, and don't create your own beliefs that people aren't supportive or on your side, because that would just be a block, Gemini, of like your own thinking that of bucking the responsibility of the challenge, of thinking that somehow there's not people supporting you. It's like you got to stop if there's any of that, of your wounds around people or making it about other people, or beliefs. It's like see that there's greatness in everybody around you, that everyone's been wounded by an experience, but we all have the pure potentiality to be the hero at any moment. And so be the hero, be the heroine, like of your own story, and attract the right cast to support you by being really clear on those ambitions this month. By the time that full moon eclipse in Libra comes around, I think kind of just said it. It's like, I'm a channeler. It's like sometimes the channeling comes out before the astrology. This is in your fifth house, this eclipse in Libra. So it's like, yeah, like you're letting go of any misaligned, you know, I'd say identifications of how your kingdom's running, you know, your kingdom, your queendom, like the people around you, your relationships, like around supportive, aligned situations. You can let the stuff go um, naturally. And I think it's going to take a little bit more time for you to understand how that's all going to ground and land until the solar eclipse that comes later, to see, you, you might find yourself around different people, uh, Gemini, and being okay with wherever the chips fall with the, love, romantic, kid situations. Like, don't try to control it. This is the South Node. Like, it's karmic. That North Node Dharma in your 11th house on Chiron is like, okay, this sucks. It's sensitive. It's on Aries too. It's like, you gotta just be okay with blowing open doors to connect more out in the world. And that is why it's important for you to know what it is that you're going after, so that you're, you didn't, like, again, create some promises that you can't live with. Like, that's the thing to ask yourself, Gemini. If not now, when? And then also, if you don't do it now, can you live with yourself if you don't? It's an intense one. I love you, Gemini. Moving on to Cancer. Well, Cancer, I feel like it's good. Don't get too heavy in the emotions. Just a reminder of that. You're here to rock out with more career stuff yourself, like purpose, ambition. Definitely connecting with others through it is a huge part of this. There is a wild, wild west of a spiritual wasteland, to make sure that you're not putting your shit perception of value, if you're struggling with that and any fears you've been having around that, and needing to look deeper at those things of like, where did that societal or religious programming or whatever it is, especially societal, come from about my identity and my worth, and to see that it's more so about your own vision, your own belief system structure of like manifesting the world that you want. Like, don't worry about what has been or how you've been receiving things. This is way more so, not so much about your perception, but definitely pretty straightforward, Cancer. It's like, align the belief with the things that you actually want to achieve and have and manifest, and don't be afraid that someone's going to like jump out and like bite you or something. Jupiter semi-square Neptune starting on the 3rd of this month. This is dealing with your 11th house and your ninth house. So it's just that. Again, there's the channel. It's like, it's beliefs, it's people, it's paying attention to those things. Mercury in Aries that comes into your 10th house. It's like, yes, be observant. Like, oh, I could take this door, or I could take, oh, wait, like it seems like there's only one door. Okay, cool, no big deal. Like, take the door, right? Like, Aries is your 10th house because it's the singularity of the focus of like, what's the biggest goal? What's the biggest thing? What's the Pisces spiritual God door that opened? And it might seem like an exit sometimes, like maybe you got to go backwards, but be patient. Eclipses are coming. It's just for some reason, sometimes God's sense of humor is like, haha, I'm going to put the cart before the horse, and so you're sitting there with an empty cart going, well, wait, I don't have shit. I don't have resources to connect with these people or do any of these goals. What the fuck's going on, spirit? And you need the horsepower to come get it. Like, don't worry, like it's coming. You've just been learning about trust issues within yourself and, and a compassionate level too. I don't think it's been super hard or, you know, deeply esoteric. It's just been like, people, personal stuff, masculine, feminine, could be wounds. The new moon in Pisces that comes through on the 10th in your ninth. I love this. Pisces ninth house, chef's kiss. It's good. It's beautiful. You can have the big magical belief, but also, did you learn to trust? Did you learn to trust like all the stuff that you think about Cancer, like the manifestation process, visualization, like are you using your own tools, right? Like this is like getting your school in order of your life, making sure you know what your philosophy is. So it's like if you ever have to like teach others, because that can bring this up too, like teacher energy, but be a student of God and of others too, and mirrors and reflections. Like, how do you get more like kind of organized, making sure your personal life is organized enough to where that you've got the ambition, the drive to have things where they need to be. But when the bell rings, when school starts, and you have like people to teach and connect with, and remembering too, like teacher student doesn't have to be the actual physical thing. It can be metaphorical. It can be an inspiring presence. Cancer, you know, that's for the ones actually out there like doing the work. But remember, Cancer, it is South on your force. Some of you might just be sleeping in till like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so to speak. It's like don't even let that snooze button like happen. Like train your train yourself to wake up before the alarm even goes off type thinking, because there's a lot to get after for you during this time, especially when the equinox rolls around. But before that, Pisces, we're looking at this. Venus comes here on the 11th. And so again, she's exalted here. She wants to dance. She wants to flow. She wants to experience the magic. She wants, maybe she's felt like she was in an isolation tank of her self-worth and couldn't really connect with people and the power dynamics that she wanted. Cool. See where there was disconnections with people or where there's like a people thing coming up and go, okay, well, I'm going to make this shift, the transition. I'm going more into this space of saying like, all right, like now I can see the magic. Now I can see the beauty of like what lies in front of me, of like what's possible. This brings up, potentiality of manifestations of people, of value situations, money situations. Use it to your advantage. This equinox, sun comes into Aries on the 20th. And again, this is another good one because it's sun in the 10th house, right? Like 10th house is like the peak of the day where the sun is at the highest point in the sky, right? So it's illuminating everything. It's at its highest point. So this is you using your ambition to get out of your comfort zone, to go rock out and do your best work. Let's say that again. Do your best work. There's a lot on the line, Cancer. You're not getting enough credit, I think, of how much you're really doing empathically, empathetically for people in the collective. So I understand sometimes where maybe some of these challenges that might seem like I'm nagging on you or about comfort show up of like maybe it's like emotional, energetic purification. But this is about you being stronger and more iron-willed in like what your goals are and kind of like don't even worry so much about informing people and let your actions speak and be like, I'm going here if you're going to say anything. And like they're either going to follow or they're not. Like trust that there's the resources and people to connect with of whatever it is that you're focused on. Like, don't be the Cancer mama bear that's like, I got to take everyone with me and won't be a good world if it's not. And it's like, they'll come with you. It's just some of them shit their pants and need to go on a timeout or get changed or whatever while you go do big girl stuff, Cancer, or big boy stuff if you're a guy. Obviously, speaking of both genders, it's like it's not pathologizing them or where they're at or their value systems, but you might just have different gears. This is about you finding the highest gear that you have available to you, and to not really rest until you're clear on what you want and you're clear on how you're getting there. Because the last thing you want is like a subconscious story where you're confused and like in some like comfortable holding pattern. Cancer, Mars coming into Pisces, I think you could say it adds fuel to a fire, except there's no fire. It's more invisible. It's more like, well, I smell gasoline, but like what's going on here? I think this is where you have to be careful about your mind. Cancer, like it's intense. Like don't be like the Joker that's like anarchy, confused, and wanting to just like more so release or tear down like the world or pathologizing people or the world or like a vision or others' visions because you slipped on a banana peel and forgot like, hey, it's not about that. It's about you, your goals. What are you manifesting? Don't worry so much about the greater world at large. I know it can get so easy to get wrapped up into that. You see it so fucking well. But it's like the acceptance of like, okay, not so much the negative of how you see the world or what people are doing, but like see the biggest perspective of the world, that it's the Garden of Eden and that there's chaos and some people not aligned with their beliefs and stuff like that. Maybe it's their comforts, but where are those either A, projections, or B, just don't even worry about that and just go to, okay, I'm a pin drop in the ocean, but I still matter. You are the ocean, Cancer. Like, how do you put forth your best effort knowing that you're the ripple effect, still the pebble getting thrown into the water, you're still a big enough deal. Like you have a magnitude to you, Cancer. It's not all about staying at home in comfort and maintaining the farm or whatever. You hear the calling, Cancer, especially those that are, empathic, intuitive, sensitive. Like, it's not fun to keep having the same conversations over and over again, is it? So, Jupiter semi-square, sorry, Cancer, this is tough reading, but Jupiter semi-square North Node happens on the 23rd. I mean, again, don't get sideswiped by people, and this is just be careful about like you have, it's like reminds me of like a road rage situation. Like, do you even want to like fuck with that person? Like if their value system or how they see the world or their positivity is not aligned with you, it's like just treat it as like, oh, that bird flew by me, but it was flying at low elevation and it kind of startled me and it kind of pissed me off or something, but at least it wasn't flying up high and God playing a joke and shitting on my ice cream cone and then I didn't know it, then ate it. It's like it deals with consequence. Like during this time, it's like, are there actually consequences to some like tiffs with people? I think is a big thing. Or is it more just your repressed emotions of like not dealing with your greater soul levels, ambitions that are coming in during this time? Because I think for all the signs that have been covered so far, I think the full moon in Libra, this lunar eclipse on the 25th hits hardest for you because it's so personal. It's in your fourth house. It's your home life, your foundation, your family, emotions, um, be greater spiritual family too. There is an element to that. Um, but it's being okay with discomfort. It's getting comfortable being uncomfortable. Like that's the thing. It's like imagine that you were in just like the most bliss comfort zone meditating and then God or the angels came in or even just some randos and like Like we've got to vacuum, God's orders. It's eclipse season. We got to vacuum underneath the cushion you're sitting on, meditating on. And you got to open up one eye to make sure you're not being taken advantage of. You got to pay attention to what's being purged in your life, especially that you intuitively know and emotionally. Be okay with feeling ungrounded for a minute. You're getting lifted up with the cushion and they're vacuuming under the cushion. You'll feel better by the end of it. I actually think you'll feel better about a week after, especially the eclipse, even though things will be fully settled because your sights will be more settled. Like, oh, I see why the dirty work had to be done. It was to point me more north to maybe what I wasn't seeing. If you haven't been seeing it, more so by this time, Aries, of like what you can really, accomplish. It's like, oh, I was meditating and getting comfortable with being uncomfortable so I could take peace of mind to my responsibilities of doing something really freaking great. So, Leo, whoop whoop. I'm sorry, Leo. I know there's no fire in the winter time, but you're fiery enough, aren't you? You got it tough, Leo. Everything's focused on your relationships more so than you. Gosh, trust, Leo. Don't walk. It's like don't walk away over trust stuff. Trust God, even if it feels a little abandoning a little bit, because like maybe your vision or your beliefs have not been going the way that you thought. You're gonna find the best stuff. Not so much worried about every little detail or thought or your mental health. Like it's more so focusing on the vision can be good, but it's more so like just take the steps, stay grounded, use your best skill set, and then like let the confidence build through the reflection of like when things go positive. It's like don't wait for people or trust or belief for things to happen, Leo. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a heavy one, Leo. You guys are going through it. A lot of big choices for you guys to make. Jupiter semi-square Neptune starting on the 3rd. Your 10th house, your 8th house. Um, Again, it's like just do the thing, plow the fields. Uh, don't start feeling scarce or at a loss that the effort's somehow not worthwhile anymore in something, and then you're thinking about letting something go. I think this is dealing with more subconscious fears, honestly, Leo, of like where you may be pulling the rug from under yourself just because you're so used to like things being challenged or hard. It makes me think of how Pluto is going through Capricorn in your 6th house. It's like I think Pluto's going to be teaching you like, hey, it's not as bad as you think. People do want to come in and help. Trust more, rely on others more, delegate, uh, share your vision and your thoughts. This brings up maybe your castle courtyard with people needs to extend further and still make them valuable, but the people that you talk to and rely and trust and sharing your thoughts and ideas and not keeping things so small because of like a trust issue, Leo. Mercury and Aries on the 9th. That is actually your 9th house. And so, yeah, you know, see where the beliefs are working, and then that's it. I think this is a lot, Leo, for you to be like, you know what? It's always working. That's it. It's always working. Don't pathologize and say it's going to be a loss or the fears are going to come true. It's always working, Leo. New moon in Pisces on the 10th. That's your 8th. I think this can be really good, but do you have a container to receive abundance and prosperity? Because that's what this brings up. Are powerful people. Like the container deals with, can you hold yourself, deal with your mind, crazy schizo thoughts, or, you know, it's a big masculine wound that you're holding in the 9th house to be able to support yourself, to go forth and keep showing up to the bigger reality of what you're being called into, when maybe sometimes you more just want to have a mental break from all the thoughts coming through. But I think that's how Remember, it's like there's a magnetism to this. Like you can get the magic, but the magic needs a structure to go into, right? You need the structure of the wand, Harry Potter's wand, for the magic to come out, right? You need a temple to do ceremony in. You need, you know, it brings up all this stuff. It's like you want good rest. Okay, you need a comfortable house to, a comfortable environment, so don't skip out on any environmental things that are going on that are making you feel uneasy. Um, this is receptivity, Leo. It's like, this is where it's like, oh, cool. Yeah, it has been hard. I get it. But don't deny yourself the magic of like more of the feminine receptivity. Let the king's wounds, be nursed. So it's like if the king was possessed by a demon for a moment psychologically, and he was like flipping out, if the soothsayer, the medicine woman, came in, I gotta like do a lot of Viking stuff, right? It's like if Freya came in and was like, I'm gonna take care of you, but you gotta relax. Are you gonna fight her and like go out and, you know, not want it to happen? This is about softening, Leo, softening into the feminine. You've already been learning a lot about that these past few years anyway. So can you let it in more? Like this is like let it deep into your pores, starting physically, and then let it penetrate you at a cellular level. Venus, Pisces, 11th house, or excuse me, Venus comes into Pisces on the 11th. This is your 8th house. And so this is the magic of the feminine supporting you. So this could bring up basically what I'm saying, like self-care, but it's impromptu self-care. It's in the flow. It wasn't predicted. Um, it's like where are you feeling blocked, frustrated, where there were repressed emotions, fears. It's a good barometer of when those things are happening. Like if you're getting like headaches, like big headaches, or you're feeling lethargic, or like, oh shit, like I thought I had the right schedule perfected and, you know, so I could deal with all my responsibilities and people. And it's like, no, like you're doing a good job of it. But remember that there's going to be moments of where you just need some good old fashioned R&R and self care. It's not that you're letting people down or letting yourself down of your goals or your drive. Remember, this is the basics. You're recharging, Leo. The spring equinox, sun on the 20th comes into Aries. I like this. I think this is really good, really fucking healing for your belief system to come out of any dark night of the soul journey to be like, oh, okay, cool. Everything's going to be okay. I knew it. It's like, yeah, Leo, it's always okay. But you guys sometimes are dramatic a little bit, especially in your thinking right now, thinking it's all going to go to shit, you know, like being careful about not complaining or even complaining in your own thoughts. Like cut out the negative thinking, and I'm telling you, it's going to be okay, especially if you make the right aligned moves. Uh, don't make decisions from misaligned thoughts, like thought trains that are like they're just not in harmony and balance. Like everything needs the pros and cons to it, Leo, especially if you're using your mind to like contemplate things. Mars coming into Pisces on the 22nd. That's good, it's kind of like sexy good, like in a way. It's like you can actually feel the potency of the magic. This reminds me of like good Kundalini life force energy, like use the dream and the vision of what you want to have to use basically your sexual energy to manifest the dream. I think that's all I really need to say. It's like bring the arousal and the potency to anything that you're wanting, especially at a bigger magical outer worldly level for manifestation. Jupiter semi-square the North Node on the 23rd. 10th house, you're dealing with 10th house, you're dealing with ninth house. I think you're going to be okay on this one, Leo. Like you're strong on elements like this already. It's just a check-in. Like, hey, do the beliefs match the goal? Okay, good, cool. Boom, keep going. Not too worried about you there. Then that full moon Libra eclipse on the 25th. Wow, this is you got the craziest one yet, because guess what? It's in your third house of your mind. Like, woo, talk about a purge, talk about a release, but only if you're not hang on to feeling responsible for other people, relationships that you don't need to be responsible for, right? Like, so you don't need to do your thinking for them. Like, it's okay. They're going to be all right. Like, people are adults. They know how to take care of themselves, right? So it's like, I think this is going to be a good whirlwind for you of like a refreshing of the mind. I think you're ready for it, Leo. Again, you've been through a lot of challenge. So moving on to Virgos. Well, Virgo, a lot of focus on the magic and partnerships, communication situations, the magic of your potency, like your Kundalini energy awakenings comes up in this too. Big visions for your life, connection with others. Like it's good, Virgo. It's good to like, yes, like, you see the reality and you see, okay, these are the people around and that, but get excited about what's possible, you know, and don't just have it like given it to you just outside of you, like through the media, like to actually see like what is it that you're seeing in other people or in media outside of yourself that excites you, that feels magical, that you can actually take and plug into like your reality and use law of attraction manifestation processes to focus on that stuff. So it's like with you, like the manifesting stuff this month of March, Virgo is like you see it outside of you, but then go, well, what are my value systems and what do I actually want for me? And don't like get, lazy and skip out on the steps and the momentum to like go and do the thing. You can't magnetize it. Know that you got the worth, that you deserve it. Jupiter semi-squared Neptune starting off on the third. Well, this is it. This is that. It's like the beliefs, the relationship situations to people. I think it's starting with the relationship of your own thoughts and your own thinking, weighing it out, making sure that they're magical thoughts that actually match the self-worth vibration of what you want to have. And then, looking around you and being like, oh, like the people around me are really fucking cool and magical too. And let me talk to them about my ideas and what I want and where I'm going. Like, there's no need to hide that because, like, you think you're going to be the weirdo if you expose like your mystical side or something, Virgo. I know you guys like to be very practical, but like, it's only woo or mystical, like, if your ego trips you up on it. It's like, you know how to think magically right now and bigger picture. You still like to keep it grounded, of course, yeah. Like to actually communicate and articulate it to people. I'm not worried about that, but don't not articulate it just because you feel like the details are too spread out. Like maybe you need people to help you more to like help you with the details by speaking more about the reality that you want. Mercury in Aries, this is on the 9th here of March. And so this is your eighth house. This is going to be a little crazy. Don't get down on yourself. Don't get, depressed or, you know, worried about, I don't know, like this brings up enoughness, money situations. Like this is like going, like, it's okay. I'll figure it out. But like also not going into old patterns too. That's what you've been being taught. It's like, it's going to be okay because I'm powerful and a badass and awesome. And I'm going to like take care of like the things that you know, make me happy and kind of like everyone else. Like this is what I'm doing, like I changed my mind. I'm going in this direction. Will you support me? It's like the people that are loyal to you will support you. And it's the ones that, have a shared value system that go, yeah, everybody's got different things they like to do. I love you. I support you. Cool. Like, do you need help? Do you need support? Do you want to connect? Works out. The new moon in Pisces on the 10th with those relationships, I think is like where that can really seed subconsciously this aspect of it that you can go into those areas. I don't want you to lay around like thinking about loss or the past though, staring up at the ceiling, like kind of floaty, disconnected from people. It's like, no, like use new moon energy to manifest. Like maybe it feels like it's just a hologram in the sky and you know it's not real and you saw it in a catalog or you see other people doing something similar and you think, oh, but I can't have that. It's not practical. It's like, no, Virgo. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You guys are actually extremely magical in the sense that because one, it's your thinking of Pisces in the seventh house, but also because the purity of you and the mutability, the change on earth, like that's part of the physical earth manifestation is like you change your mind, you find the steps, you figure things out on how to manifest, right? Like manipulating energy and bringing the molecules together, like a quantum physics structure is probably more your language of like that's all you're doing. You're just focusing on like what's the vibration of the things you want to have with people, your world, your reality. You'll feel a lot better with your health and eat healthy too. Like you can't get around that. It's like, you know, you're just like everyone else, Virgo. Like remember like that you poop too. Yeah, just like take care of the body, but don't over restrict too, you know. Make sure that like what you're doing with your health, your day-to-day schedule is like actually supporting you, you know, and the things that you want to have. Venus coming into Pisces on the 11th, you know, more backing spiritually, good relationships. I feel like there could be a bit of a faded karmic aspect with your relationships, especially because you know Saturn's here in this new moon, and then Venus, and then Mars eventually will join. So it's a lot. Um, trust the magic of whoever's showing up or whoever's not showing up, because it can be either side of the seesaw. Some people float away, some people get closer. Like there's plenty of people, Virgo, like there's plenty of people around you to connect with and, you know, to do things that you want to do. Um, you know, it's an important aspect to not like gloss over the fact that the quality of your relationship experience is going to be to actually see the magic in the world around you of like what's available to you. The spring equinox on the 20th, that sun comes into Aries, eighth house, good potency. I like it for you. I think this is a good self-worth thing for you of like being like, oh yeah, like I am pretty awesome. I'm potent. I'm like a fucking spiritual ninja. It's like, yes, you are, Virgo. Like, own that piece. Like, even if it's just like quietly, I really want you to like focus on like what's the spiritual, mystical side value of yourself, because that's actually at least going to nourish you. It's not going to give all the nutrients that you need for the long term yet, but at least you can start to trust more confidently in yourself that you can make things happen and to keep making things happen that you've already been doing, to build it, to practice on it. Mars coming into Pisces is maybe you feel a little alone in relationship situations, a little drifty, but you don't have to carry out that story that, you know, any negative stories. It's like you can snap out of it at any point and come back to earth and be like, oh, like how it's magical. There's this person. Let me play. Let me hang out with this person. Let me, you know, go do these fun things with people and change my reality by being a different, you know, vibration that matches the belief of the things that you're wanting to create. Jupiter semi-square North Node. This happens on the 23rd. So I wouldn't trip out. Like if there's fears that come up that feels like it's a detractor from the vision of the life that you want to have. Uh, I think it's just more showing how much do you really want it. I know it's a tough one, Virgo, but it's like how bad do you really want it? If there's fears, there are probably more distractions of things making you think that like, oh, I got to go deal with this fire to put out. It's like, no, you don't. Like, that's just your own repressed subconscious psyche, emotional turmoil to check in to see your worth and value. To really root into the belief that you can have what you want. That and there's a lot of details to figure out, but it's like figure out the energetic details of your subconscious mind to go, why am I a stressed Virgo getting upset? You know, and it sounds weird, Virgo, because you're the purity, but it's like, I hope no one gets mad at me for this, but it's like put on a fresh pair of underwear and then, you know, Virgos are gonna kill me, but you fart and you put streaks in your underwear. I'm just gonna say a Virgo. And it's like, but did you force the fart? Did you actually have to do it? Like it's paying attention to that. It's like, are you creating your own like drama because of like, you know, it's actually a crazy, interesting self-worth thing, Virgo, to make sure that you know that you're awesome, that the magic's just as available to you as it is anyone. So rolling along. So Libra, halfway. Oh, halfway there. Libra. Well, I love you, Libras. You know, it's a lot. It's a lot moving. The focus on your relationships is a big deal. You know, I think there's a singularity